when you're buying groceries or a membership or you're getting something from Target, these companies send you emails and messages and things like that, right? What are some other companies that you see and you get like a lot of bombardment of advertisement for, just from like letting them know your interest like one time?
Mainly stores, like anywhere you go shopping.
Yeah, like maybe Bed Bath and Beyond.
Yes.
You always get those. Costco, if you're a member at Costco, you get bombarded with those things. Anytime that they want you to sign up for one of their cards, yeah, you absolutely get bombarded. You actually showed there was a little bit of interest, so they're making sure that they're bringing that so that you're staying top of mind, because you probably may have been instigated to go use one of those coupons or use and go take advantage of one of those sales, but you wouldn't ordinarily known about it. So that's what we're trying to get into with our database and why we're trying to use it. Have you heard the terms 33 touch or 40 touch? Okay, so do you know what that is?
Talking to them in some way or reaching out
Yes.
to them
Okay.
33 times a year.
Yes, yeah. So that's kind of one of the methodologies that we're going to talk about today, and how we're going to be able to implement that and make sure that these touches are effective and that they're helping. So a targeted market campaign is going to be one of those specific pieces of that. So you might be doing mailers, or you might be doing email. You may also be doing phone calls to your database, because that's completely free for you to be able to do. So let's see. A targeted market campaign. We are on page, it doesn't say this on mine. Should be page 16 or 17. 16? Okay, perfect. So targeted market campaign. So a targeted market campaign first identifies a small segment of your large overall market and then tailors a marketing plan for that. Because you've got people that might be wanting to buy a retirement home, or they might be wanting to buy their first time home. You might target them a little bit differently. So it's important when you are inputting those things into your database that you make notes so that you can be specific as possible.
Okay.
So one of the examples that they're talking about with that is that the company Glasgow began marketing its vitamin-rich water to men and women between the ages of 18 to 49 who indicated that they were interested in health and fitness. So because of that, Smart Water brand grew approximately 28% in less than a year, because they were only targeting that small group instead of everybody that would drink water. So why do companies, governments, and other entities keep detailed information? Because it's very valuable and it's very important. So how would this relate to your business? What type of information could you keep from some of your clients or get from some of your clients so that you could market a little bit more specific towards them?
Like what area they want to be in, school districts.
Maybe if they have kids or don't have kids. Yeah. So one other thing that you can think about is if they're in the area or out of the area, because you might be trying to promote to get referrals versus trying to sell to them, because you still want to be a resource to somebody who lives in Dallas, or your mom's sister who has a friend that lives in Florida. You still want to be able to help them. So it's really important to notate where they're looking, what's important, if it's more of a referral opportunity or if they live here local. Okay. So that's great. That's great. All right. So we went over at the beginning a few minutes ago what a database is. And so technically, according to the definition, it says a database is a tool that centrally stores customer and prospect contact information, which is regularly updated with new details and events to be organized, sorted as needed, and is continually added to in order to increase your business. And that is one of the main goals of one of the big movements of Never Ending Referrals that our office is really, really strong on. It's building your database, feeding it, updating it, and keeping it organized to make sure that you're following up with all of the people. So we've got a lot of great tools with Keller Williams. So we've got automated systems, so you don't have to worry about putting these in place each and every month and remembering to do them. They can be set up. So an automated system is designed to work within the contacts in your database within your KW websites to help set up your business online and offline with a set and go marketing. So Because your database is your most valuable asset, we want to give you different ways to do that. And there's an additional method that you have an opportunity to take advantage of. It's called Auto Connect, that the Georgetown and the Round Rock Market Centers are doing. So I would suggest once you close your first couple of deals, that might be something you might look into to invest in. And that's to send mailers to your database, and it does an automation of print items in order to help facilitate and cover all the bases, so you don't have to worry about that. So you can push the buttons for online, and then you can go and give them the authorization and then the list of names, and they can do the print for you. So it's a really cool tool to be able to leverage that. But I don't recommend spending money before you start bringing it in. You got to play red light, green light. That's one of the big tools there. And so the bigger that you can get your database started, the better opportunity you're going to have to grow and get the most income as you can in the shortest amount of time. So while you're getting things rolling, while you're practicing your scripts and you're learning the KW lingo and getting involved in the office, spending a couple hours each day and putting that database together and inputting it and organizing it is imperative to make sure that you're fully successful without having to bend over backwards and do more work than is necessary. So, according to the National Association of Realtors in 2014, a while ago, 88% of clients said that they would use their agents again, and only 12% do. Why do you think that is?
Because they're not staying connected.
Exactly, yeah. So, the National Association of Realtors also tells us that people move every 10 years. Within 10 years between transactions, agents that don't leverage systems or stay top of mind during that decade potentially are running the risk of their contacts experiencing other agents and possibly going through that process with somebody else. So in your career, you're going to be hearing about somebody complain that a family member or friend or somebody used someone else, and it was just there was a lack of staying top of mind. Even if you think you're doing everything you're supposed to, sometimes it's just not necessarily enough. So the databases make the customer information easy to handle, follow up with, and improve service to strengthen relationships. So some of the things that you can take advantage of, as I've briefly mentioned before, mailings, emails, making phone calls. And when you have face-to-face and phone call interactions, that's going to be a much higher level of communication. So I highly encourage you do those before you go down the path to do the more reactive, more hands-off, less face-to-face approach. And remember, have in-depth conversations. Use Ford, family, occupation, recreation, dreams. When you're talking to these people, it's not necessarily just about real estate. You want to have in-depth conversations so you can learn more about them, be able to help them further. So, first and foremost, prospecting for now business, people who are ready to buy in the immediate future. So this means meeting new people, open houses, or working with new home builders, asking business from existing clients in your database and friends and family, and asking for referrals from everyone you talk to. So just because Joe Schmo across the street doesn't want to buy and sell a house doesn't mean he doesn't have a number of family and friends that live in the area that may potentially want to. So it's important to ask who people may know, or friends, family that they may be thinking of making a move, so that you're asking them for referrals. And so in order to keep a steady flow of business, you have to make sure that you're doing all of these activities consistently, and it's just a matter of getting in habit in your daily activities. So how do you know when a buyer or seller makes a decision to buy or sell? You won't, unless you're talking to them. You've got to be the first person to contact them directly. So the goal is to stay in dialogue with them regularly, and then they will make it evident based on their actions and conversations, and you'll know well ahead of time. So, all right. So let's get into the first video. Oh, good, it came back.
Here we have Nancy. She is using her database to lead generate. Because her
Yes, see?
contacts are organized, she is able to make effective calls that yield
from Keller Williams Realty. How are you today?
You can see that because she took time to build, organize, and nurture her database, her business is growing and becoming profitable.
Okay, so you're not moving. Is there anyone else who is? I wanted to talk to you about the inquiry you put in online for a new home. Yes, well, can we meet at 2 o'clock on Tuesday? I'll put you down in my books. Thank you so much.
Here is Nancy. She doesn't think she needs a database. She has a system. Watch as she tries to lead generate.
Hello, Mr. Smith. Oh, I'm so sorry, Mr. Johnson. This is Nancy. We met a couple weeks ago. You moved a month ago. Gosh, I'm so happy for you. I'm so sorry. Okay. Well, is there another time we can talk?
As you can see, an organized database is your most valuable business asset. A powerful database produces productive and predictable leads. The results speak for themselves.
So have you started inputting anything into a database or started creating anything that looks like a database?
No.
Okay, that's completely fine and I'm glad you're here. So you've logged on to mikeiw.com. Wonderful. Have you seen this little area, contacts?
Mm-hmm.
So this is what I would suggest for you to first use. Now, this is when you're inputting one person at a time and getting things going. For inputting large groups of people, say for example your list of friends on Facebook, your list of friends and family on your phone, or even whatever type of directories or address books that you have at home. If you're doing that in bulk, I would go ahead and just put that into an Excel spreadsheet and just have most of the basic categories. And you're probably going to have to change some of them, and Bruce will be able to help get those imported. But that way you can get a large group of people in at one time. And then when you feel like you're ready to jump into the never-ending referrals, you can jump into and seeing how we can categorize it and bite it off into chunks and really start calling and starting yourself on the right foot, because that's the best thing that you can do for free, and it's you being genuine and asking how you can help people. So this is my database right now. We're using Edge, as you can see, and we'll be transitioning to the new tools when they become available. You're able to sort by contact activity, but more importantly, there's so many people in here. What do we have, like
1,100.
1,100. So there's a lot of people in here, and it's going to be really hard to try and scroll down and find everybody. So we break them into groups. And I'm probably getting ahead of myself because I'm just like, all right, so. No, this is perfect. I'm getting right into it. I am. All right, so let's get some definitions out of the way before I start playing with how this is organized and how you can actually input and do this. So you can see that having a well-organized database is what's key to have transactions and lead generations go smoothly and successfully. So we're going to talk about and practice what it's going to look like of inputting leads into the database. So a contact is anyone that you can get some contact information from. And let's start with who. So according to the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book, do you have a copy of that? Okay, have you started reading it? Start reading it. It's a little bit hard to get through sometimes, I'll be completely honest, but if it's something that you don't feel like you're getting through, listen to it on tape. It'll make it go a little bit easier, but it's something that is important to think through, and I would highlight and take notes and things like that when you're reading it. A little bit more of a textbook than like a fun read. It's super imperative for your business to understand the how and why, and makes it just feel a lot more easy to digest. So with that, the contacts as defined by Millionaire Real Estate Agent book begin with the people that you know and know you. These are METs, so your sphere of influence, people on your phone, Facebook friends, former co-workers, schoolmates, teammates, church friends, and this is a great source of new business, as you've already found, and a lot of people see that that's where your business is going to be coming from. Now, there's groups of haven't mets, and so this is a confusing idea for me. How do I have people's information and know people that I haven't met? What this is talking about is maybe people in your neighborhood. You have a targeted specific area and that has, where do you live, for example?
I live in Holland.
Holland. Okay, so you would have is there a group of homes kind of in your area, or are you very rural?
I'm very rural.
Very rural. Okay. Well, we'll use, if you want to target a neighborhood specifically, say Summercrest or say Parkview Estates or something like that, that would be a group of, not necessarily, it would be haven't mets. And until you go and meet all of the people in the database, you're going to be pulling in and you're going to have some met contacts from that. But that's a great way just to think about. For me, I needed a tangible thing to connect it with, and to me it's a geographic database, or maybe all of the classmates that graduated from your high school. You may not know all of them if it was a large school or a large class. And then referrals. Referrals, you're going to be asking everyone from your MET group to give you information of any friends or family who are looking for any possible real estate needs. So these are going to be important terms to remember. Keller Williams is going to utilize them. So your METs, your haven't METs, and then referral opportunities. More sources of haven't METs: neighborhood, geographic farm, as I mentioned, sports team mailing lists, your church roster, organization membership lists, all of your LinkedIn contacts. They say Facebook, Twitter, blog followers. I would say these are going to be people that follow you that you don't have a direct interaction with. And yeah, mostly geographic and neighborhood farms. And so the goals for getting your contacts when you have your METs, you're going to be asking for their business, and you're going to ask for referrals, and then you're going to get more information to build the relationship. So name, address, email, phone numbers, social media. You'll probably be able to get an idea of the marital status, but take notes on that. Children, pets. Ask them if they own or rent. If they own, you can look them up in the tax records. If they rent, you can try and get them into a new home. And then length of current home. And those are things that you can actually look up in the tax records as well, the length of time that they've owned the home. Because do you know what the average time is that people live in a house? Do you have an idea before they sell?
Like 7 to 10 years.
Yeah, exactly. So once you start seeing like 5-6 years, there's a good chance that it may be on their mind, or at least something to consider. But the likelihood of if they had bought within the first 2 years is a little bit lower unless they're being relocated. All right, so we need to feed your database and get started. So would you like to use pen and paper? Would you like to use an Excel spreadsheet? Would you like to use KW database? Or how do you want to get started? Because what we're going to do is we're going to practice getting your information and getting it into a database and putting it somewhere. So how do you want to do it? Low tech or high tech?
I can do low tech.
Okay. In your book, you should have
I have it.
should be a little yeah. So what I'd like for you guys to do is use your phone, because everyone's got their phone. And I want you to pull out the names and numbers and emails of 10 people that are not family members that live in the area. So this is going to be technically we're looking at page 23, 24. We're just getting people's names and informations down. So just 10 of them.
Non-family members.
Non-immediate family members. How about that? I'm going to try and find 10 in here that aren't in our database. And we got about 10-15 minutes to do that. Yeah, don't call. Do you have phone number? I mean, do you have emails for most of them?
No.
Guess what? That's an excuse to contact them. And if you don't know them as well, it's a good text. You can send them. No, she's in there. The biggest thing is you're going to have a lot of people that you're going to have either their name and phone number or their name and email. It's going to be getting all of the full information for all the people is the continued challenge.
people on my phone that I don't remember these people. I don't know if I got their number.
Are y'all in that class?
Yes.
I thought it started at 1.
No, 12 to 3.
Oh, well, I'm supposed to be here.
Awesome. I'm Megan.
I'm Tina.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah,
Wonderful.
Kristen called me yesterday, and I could have sworn she told me 1 to 3. So I was like, oh, let me just go into the office and strolling in.
Oh, goodness.
They're like, no, it started at 12. I'm like, I'm sorry.
All good. Well, we've got a small group, so
Okay.
we're in good shape. So
Okay.
what we've gone over right now, so tell me a little bit about where you're at in getting started with things.
As far as what do I have going on?
Yes, and if you're an
This is my
individual agent, team,
Individual agent. I just did my first closing. Not last week. I was on the. Oh, anyway, like 2 weeks ago.
mm-hmm.
So on a listing, and I currently have open a new build, and then I have another active listing, and then I'm sharing a purchase with Robin
Mm-hmm.
Bush. I had helped her while she was out of town,
Mhm.
and so we have that going on,
Perfect.
and then another listing coming out of that I'll be sharing with her.
Okay, so where
So-
did some of these clients come from?
Well, family,
Mm-hmm.
family and friends, and then the referrals from Robin,
Perfect.
and she got them from Veterans United.
Perfect. Cool. So, family and friends, that's what we're getting started with talking
Okay.
about. So, today's course, it's more of an introduction to building your business
Mhm.
and building your database.
Okay.
So, the expectation in Ignite is that we're going to grow your database to at least 200 people to make sure that you've got the right groundwork laid so that you can continue to move forward in your business and have consistency with
Okay.
your transactions. So, we talked about what a database is and what that looks like.
Okay.
And why we're doing what we're doing to stay top of mind, and we're going to be getting into more of the nuances of what a database looks like, how to categorize it, and the activity that we were just finishing up was getting our phones out and getting a list of 10 people to put into our database because we've got available. Have you started putting in people into a database?
I haven't started entering them, but
Okay.
I've like just
Gathering.
been gathering. Yeah.
Gathering.
Yeah.
A lot of people can gather and gather and gather, so I'm glad that you're here today so that you can get into action because it can seem like a big undertaking, but really you just got to do little bits and pieces and get it in. And so this is a great start to practice to make sure that you understand what you need. So we're just pulling names, phone numbers, and if we have emails from 10 people that are non-direct family members in our phone so that we can, it should have helped you realize that you may not have all the contact information that you really need in order to be successful. And a lot of the struggle is making sure that we're continually working to get that. People's emails change, people may move without you knowing about it, and so you want to stay up to date because it's unrealistic to expect that you're going to get 100% of the people in your database's business. It's all about numbers. We're trying to get as much as humanly possible. So really understand that don't be hurt if they've moved. It just goes to show just a little bit more to step up and get going on that. So good practice for getting names and numbers in there. Do you have about 10?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is a good time for me to tell you about a really cool tool as well. It's called Airtable. You can go to airtable.com, and Liz here is my assistant, so she'll be able to, if you guys have questions, we can email you some of these things as well. Airtable is a really cool way that if you're wanting to, I don't know what might be easier. It may be better and more fun to put your information in Airtable and then you can export it however you need to because it's got the same capabilities as Excel. It's really just a smarter, prettier version of Excel that's online, if that makes sense. It can do a lot of other things, but for what I'm talking about here, it might be a really good way for you to do that, and that way you can have access to it anywhere at any time and not have to feel like it's tied to any system. And that way you can also import large groups at a time so you can get it into your KW database. And so let me start going in here. Okay, we did feed your database. All right, so let's talk about classifying. So in your database, whenever you start,
25 of session 2.
yes,
Session 2,
yes,
25 you said? Perfect, thank you.
yeah. So just to give you an idea, Keller Williams is going to offer the best free tools for us to be able to use, and this is going to be probably your smartest way of this is your end result. Your goal is to get as much in here as possible, but I'm just trying to give you the realistic steps in order to get that done. Either Excel, either Airtable, pull your phone, pull the contacts from your phone, Facebook. Bruce can help with that, and you can Google online ways so you can get bulk imports of that. But it is going to be really important. You're going to want to add people on a daily basis. You're going to be meeting people at open houses. You're going to be following up with them. Friends and family are going to say, hey, I've got someone who's thinking of buying in 6 months. Well, we want to put them somewhere so we can make sure and follow up with them. So when you go in here, you're going to want to create a contact. And there's a lot of different options that, you have a lot of little options you get to do here. So you can choose if they're warm, cold, what type of lead they are, so that you can track and categorize and follow up on all your warm or hot leads. You put their first name and last name. You gotta have your email, whenever you're putting it into the KW system, you do have to have name, phone number, and email address. So that's really important to keep that in mind. So those are the big 3 that you're going to want to put in there as well. Yet it's also important to keep in mind that you want to have notes, and then you want to put in their mailing address. And what's really neat is if you've got kids, or if you're trying to leverage time, or you can break this down into small dosages, you can go through and search the tax records and get your addresses for all these people, as long as they own a home and you know what county they live in. So keep that in mind so that you can really fulfill all of your information. And I would get in the habit of doing that every time that you put in the details. Now you have the option of putting in the husband or wife and secondary details and activity and time frame. And then you can send a welcome email to this contact. All right, so that's what it looks like of adding it into the KW system.
Now, is there a way to fill in that welcome email? Is it just like a generic, or is it?
You'll be able to automate it.
Okay.
Yeah, you'll be able to choose.
And that little marketing button up at the top is where all the...
You can create your
Yeah.
welcome emails?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
And you can send it.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's to show you what KW has. Now, we're going to talk about classifying the people that we put on our list. So you need to be able to figure out, are they buyers, sellers, renters, investors, what type of relationship you have with them. And so you saw all those fields on here. So let's practice on categorizing them. Do you want to give an example of one of your people and how you know them?
Okay, so I have Aaron Bomsch. I know him from school.
Mm-hmm.
We went to school together, and
Have you followed up? Has he talked to you about real estate in any regards? It's just a friend from school. Okay. Yeah, then I would just keep that as a basic contact. Renter?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so contact, renter, friend from school. Those are some of the different tags or groups that you can create on that one to categorize that. I've got a potential seller that's considering selling in this next year. Her name is Jennifer, and so she's on my list. And so for me, I would have potential seller, and then I would put possibly the time frame on it or timeline that she's thinking of making that move. And then on that one, I would put probably like hot lead type of deal. And then that was just a family friend, and so that's how I would put that note. If you meet someone from an open house, make sure to add those notes. This is on page 25. It's just very important to make sure you're categorizing so that you can easily target and follow up with these people. Because if you remembered that, oh, they were really interested in this and you didn't tag it, how are you going to go through and find them if you don't remember their name? Or if you had 3 or 4 people that mentioned, hey, I really, really like those D.R. Horton homes that I saw in Round Rock. So maybe you should have that whenever you see those other incentives that you can offer for them. Awesome. So, let's see here. Qualify. So when you do actually have a lead or a friend or family member that's looking, it's important to qualify. So if you've got people that may be considering making a move, the next steps to follow up, get more contact information and more information for your database. And then you can also ask how motivated they are in making this purchase. This could be, are you motivated to get this done in 2019? Do you want to do this before you retire? Do you want to do this in the next 2 months? So whatever real estate plans that they might discuss, make sure to get those notes so that you can qualify and put that in your database. And in addition to the Never Ending Referral Program that our office is doing, each week we're using some of the growth initiative tools that Keller Williams has. And so yesterday they were talking about the pipeline tool. And this is exactly what the pipeline tool is about, is qualifying to see where they are in your timeline. And so this is another tool to help heighten your database and make sure that you're following up with these people. So I encourage you to take a look on the calendar for CGI, is what that's going to be called, and that's Career Growth Initiative. And I know there's a lot of opportunities to be bombarded with, but these are things that are going to be reoccurring. It's not anything that you're going to miss if you don't do it this next week. I just want to make sure you guys are aware of it and where it fits into some of our tools and how it can help build your foundation. Wonderful. So some leads have more pressing needs than others. So by qualifying them right away, you can clearly see which ones require your immediate attention. It's going to really suck if you find out that someone had mentioned that they're looking to buy and they meant, oh, I'm looking to buy before the end of the year, and you put them on the back burner for that. So with contacts with no immediate plans to buy or sell in the future, which realistically will be a good amount of your database, put them on a drip marketing campaign to automate their regular touches so that you don't spend more time than is absolutely necessary with them. Because the last thing you want to do is bombard a bunch of people about buying and selling. You're like, I have no need to. Why are you pushing this down my throat? So let's talk about different ways that we can categorize in our database so that we can make sure and give some more for more precise marketing. So, page 27. All right. In your eEdge, you've got a lot of marketing campaigns. Marketing campaigns. You've got a lot of marketing campaign options. So I'm going to share these with you just to give you an example of what they look like and how they can be more targeted and more personalized. So there is monthly newsletters, and there's a 12 direct did you know, and let me show you what those look like. And all of these are pre-created for us, and it adds your information to it. So it makes it real easy. All right, so this might be somebody that is an investor. You can take a look at some of the ideas and things that they talk about, and then your information will be down at the bottom. Have you guys seen some of these before?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah?
You went over it and tech a little bit.
Good. Did he go over how to set them up?
Yes.
You're making my job real easy. Have you seen how to set them up? Okay, cool. All right, I can at least do that. Let's go back through and show you a couple of the other ones. I personally am a fan of the Did You Know or the seasonal tips. So let me show you the seasonal tips, because what I like about these is I feel like you can put these for everybody, and then you can send the more precise stuff throughout the year that's targeted. So you can have a blanket for everybody and then do more unique things depending on what your clients are looking for. They're not showing it because it's old or it's done. the email only.
Now, are these the ones that you pay extra for, or these are just free?
These are free.
Okay.
So the things that you pay extra for, that's the Auto Connect program that you have the option of opting into, and that way you can get 24 additional touches automatically taken care of, and those are print, which we're pushing a little bit more towards print now because everybody's being flooded with email and digital. So going back to that, because people are still, we know that people are not going to be saving every last piece that comes in the mail, but even if they look at your name and toss it in the mail or toss it in the trash, at least it's being put in front of them and they're not just deleting it before they even open it or see it. So that's kind of the methodology of it. Well, these just don't want to. I might have picked old ones. I think I may have. Let me scroll down a little bit more. Okay. Happy Healthy Home. Alright. Yeah, this is another one that I really like. It's just something that if you live in a house, basic stuff, or if you live anywhere, just basic items. Keeping allergy free and things to keep your home clean and just updates. So this is a really good generic one I like a lot too.
And those are sent through email?
Those are all sent through email, and they give you the number of steps and the calendar of when it's being done.
And once you start it, like it just goes.
It just goes. You don't have to worry about it.
Keep going in and change. You set it all up once, and it pushes
And it
out.
reminds you when it's over or it's about to be over, saying, "Hey, you're going to need to set up the next round for this next year." So you're able to get that done.
So it's a different one every month. Okay, or every however often.
I just showed one example, but if you go through, you'll be able to see all of the different ones.
Okay.
So those are our different touch campaigns with the eEdge system. And then there's a couple other cool ones that are a little bit more precise. So some of the other key terms that we talk about in Keller Williams and getting started is a 33 touch and an 8x8. So we went over some of the definitions of met and haven't met. So tell me what you guys know of the definitions of an 8x8 and a 33 touch.
Without reading the book.
Yeah. So just kind of give me some ideas about it. No? No?
Don't know.
Okay. Don't know? Don't know?
Well, the 33 touch, that's where you reach
You-
out to
yeah.
them 33 times.
We kind of
and you get-
we kind of touched on that, but the 8x8, less familiar with that one?
Yeah.
Okay. So 8x8, you'll be reading this in the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book, is what you're doing to really solidify, especially right when you meet a person. This isn't for all the people that are already in your database. It's when you're meeting a new person. You're at a grocery store and you're wearing your name tag and you bring up real estate, or you're doing an event or doing an open house or something like that. This is for more of those situations. And it's going to include a phone call, a handwritten note, adding them into your database, and a few different emails and other type of touches. But it's a really good way to solidify you in their brain that you're the local realtor of choice. Now, it does seem a little bit much by doing 8 touches in 8 weeks. You can always modify that. I typically get the 8 touches done in 8 to 9 weeks or 10 weeks, but it's all different types of communication. So right after you meet them, you do a handwritten note. A few days later, hey, just want to make sure you got my note in the mail. If they don't reach back out to you, if they reach out to you, you can check that off as another connection. You can, if they're local, drop off a little pop by or a little value item. Like the title companies have all those cool flyers of different things that are happening in the area. So use that. And then also just make a couple, an email or a phone call and ask to add them to your database for future mailings and things like that. So those are going to be the first initial touches. And they have some automated systems as well to help you do that, especially if you have somebody I would say that this system, let's take a look at it, to your new home, for a new home buyer from out of state possibly. Let's take a look here. Because if it's a lot of emails, that's probably meaning you're not going to be able to make those personal connections. You want to balance it out, but you got to realize if they're local, you can do more face-to-face stuff. If they're not, sometimes you gotta go with the internet. All right, so this would be great if you find if there was like an online lead or something that comes in, or you have a friend or a family member who has someone out of state that's looking to make a purchase. This is a great way to get started, and so you would put them on this 8x8 system, and then once that's completed, then you put them on the 33 touch system. But honestly, if you're doing this 8x8, they're typically going to be leads, and you're probably going to be getting into business with them or getting them in under contract. And then once you're done with the transaction, either way, they go in the database and you follow up with them with that 33 touch system. Now you're going to hear 33, 36, 40, 44. You gotta touch them a lot. You gotta make sure you're staying top of mind. Don't do it the same way all the time. I really like the Auto Connect system that they're putting together. Always lead with revenue, so make sure you're making some money before you invest in that, but you can invest in a very small group of people and keep it at very, very minimal for what you're getting. With that system right now, we're getting 24 mailers a year. We're doing 12 emails a year, so that's 36, and I'm making 4 phone calls, so that's 40 touches. So we're really happy with that system. But we also have a ton of people that we don't have their addresses for. They don't own a home in the area. We probably should go through and search all the tax records. Maybe we can find a college kid to do that and go through our whole database and see what we have. I'm sure we get a lot more mailing addresses. Because I didn't do that right from the beginning, and that's why I'm trying to tell you guys to do it right from the beginning. And follow up on the little details. I'm not a very detail oriented person when it comes to the little bitty nuances. So if you struggle with that, push hard through that so you can make sure and get all the information and the details you want. So on page 29, it talks about what the 8x8 and the 33 touch is. So let's go over, I gave you an example of a 40 touch with what Auto Connect is doing. What do you guys see here? What are some other options? It's really just kind of just moving and choosing what you want to do. Right here they're talking about the 14 mailings, 8 thinking of you cards, 3 phone calls, personal observance days, holiday cards. That one I wasn't excited about that one. I don't know why, but I just chose other ones. So in the past I've done 18 emails, so that's 3 emails a month, 4 phone calls, 3 pop buys or gifts, and 2 cards, and then 5 social events that we invite them to that we have going on in the community. Whether it's I'm having a shopping event and having some vendors here in the office for our clients and just to help small business, or we did an event at Sip and Stain for a client appreciation, or jumping in on whenever the office has events and taking advantage of those. It's all been really, really successful in order to help with that. So all of this is already built into Edge. You don't have to develop anything. You just have to choose what you want and how you want it to look. And a lot of people a lot of agents in this office will spend a lot of time trying to customize and really just make it their own. Set yourself apart by your service and how that you're consistent in the follow through. Don't worry about spending hours trying to get a newsletter ready before it gets sent out, because you've already got them prepared. All right, so what items do you think will be valuable to your contacts? What are some items of value?
I mean, like email address and...
No, things that we can provide to them.
Oh.
That they would want, because here's the thing. If we were contacting them a whole bunch, it's going to really make a big difference if we're contacting them with something valuable and not just an empty, lackluster, hi, you want to buy or sell a house? No? Okay, bye. Like, that's not enough. That's not going to work. So what other things are value that you can add that when you're talking to them or when you're visiting with them?
As far as on the phone?
Either way. Phone, in person, however.
I mean, I think you need to, you got to make it personal and check in, and you got to make notes on what's going on, so you can remember what's going on in their life. So when you do follow back up with them, that you know to touch back on that, and you don't get confused with this one and this one.
Exactly. Exactly.
And I think that the more people that are given something, be it kind of like a Starbucks gift card or something like that, they're going to be like, oh yeah, because one, they're going to recognize it right then, but then they're going to find it in their purse 3 weeks later and be like,
remember,
yeah, I got that, and you cross their mind again.
Exactly.
So, and then they're more than likely going to talk about it, I think, as they're one spending it or
exactly
along that lines
exactly
to other people.
So one other thing that we've got that's really cool right now that doesn't cost any money is the Kelly. We can do the Kelly Snaps. So you can offer free market statistics or neighborhood specific updates of what's going on. A very easy, very detailed analysis. And they have found with some of the I don't know how the technology works, but they have found on the back end that when you are giving them the Kelly Snap with their neighborhood versus just the zip code, they look at it 4 times longer. So it's a great way to be able to get more detailed information from somebody, find out where they live and what neighborhood they're in when you're talking with them. Because sometimes those addresses, and if you don't want to go digging through the tax records, that's how you can ask for it and get that information and offer a free market report. And people have been really, it seems like so simple and easy, but it's a really nice looking little deal. And
so you get their zip code versus their
get their address so that you can know their neighborhood and ask them their neighborhood.
Okay.
You're going to be a lot more successful in doing that.
Okay.
So that's a really good one. Some other items of value, like we had mentioned, the title companies, they have those little lists of events that are happening. Any local points of interest, vendor lists that you may have. In January coming up, letting people know that if they bought last year, maybe they didn't buy with you, it doesn't matter. You're going to let them know about some great things to save them money, like filing for their homestead exemption. And then lists of rebates and sales or things like that in the area. And a lot of calendar of events with the title companies are going to be a really solid source of things. And that's for, you can email, you can mail, you can drop those off as a little pop-by. If you have clients that have sent you business and you want to reward them, that's a great time to do a little Starbucks gift card and a little thank you note. So all of those are really great ways to provide something of value. Okay, page 31, it talks about a little bit more of a visualization on how you are touching all of your people. So initially you'll see the 8 touches in the 8 weeks, and then after that the 33 touch. All right. All right, so both campaigns are a way to stay top of mind and to stay in touch with your clients on a consistent basis through emails and reminders for you to call and visit and write them. The goal for these touch campaigns is for all your contacts to be in the database to think of you as their go-to person for real estate. So it's a great question. If you don't have anything else to say and you're talking with somebody and they're actually having a good conversation with you, say, hey, just quick question. When you think of real estate, who do you think of? That's a really great way to qualify if that's going to be a good contact in your database. So if you get to talking and you don't know what else to say, but they're still willing to talk with you, hey, just quick question. Just want to ask you. And that also instructs and sets in their mind for them to remember to refer to you for business. So let's test this. What do you think about when you think of potato chips? What company?
Lay's.
Okay. For soft drink.
Coke.
Okay. Tissues.
Kleenex.
Puffs. Lotion.
That's the best kind. So that's what we need to have. We need to have your clients. Someone says realtor. They say Liz. They say Marissa. All right. Gotta make sure you stay top of mind. All right. When you meet somebody new, what is your first steps? Talking about real estate. You're at an open house.
I usually have them sign in,
Yes.
and so then that way, as they're filling it out, I can see, you know, and I'm talking to them too, you know, and I use it as I need this for the owner, you know.
That's
and,
great.
And they're giving me information as far as their name, their address, if they have an agent, if they don't, you know, and then there's places that I can write notes after they leave for my follow up.
Absolutely. That's the biggest thing that I want to really push today is you're going to be in a position and you're pushing yourself to meet more and more people right now. You need to make sure you get their information, you get their contact, or else they're gone. You're going to lose them. So first thing, get their contact information. And then the next biggest thing that people lose out on and agents lose is doing something with that. Really, really encourage you to set a few times each day, either in the middle of the day or at the end of the day, of inputting this information into your database. Whether it's your Excel spreadsheet that you're going to be putting in to eEdge, or if it's just putting it directly into eEdge, just getting into that habit to consistently do it. And then at that point, if it's a brand new contact, I'd probably write a handwritten note and send it to them. If you didn't get their mailing address, send an email note. There's something that you can do in order to have that connection. And then we talked about one of the new campaigns you guys were a little bit less familiar with, which was the 8x8.
That's what I started. It's like, it's either the 30.
I know, there's only two numbers. It's
Which
either
one?
8
We talked
or
about
33.
Richard already.
Yeah. So the next step will be putting them on an 8x8. And then after that, either you're going to do business or you're going to be putting them on a 33 touch. So
For
let's...
the people that you do business with,
Mhm.
how often do you follow up with them?
That I'm doing business with, it
Say
depends.
they just bought a house, and how often do you keep following up with them? After
They would be on a
bought?
33 touch then at that
Okay.
point. Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely. They're gonna hear from me quite a bit, and I'm gonna be reaching out to make sure that I'm helping them. And typically, there are some questions that do come up, and so it trains them well to make sure that they are following up with me.
Okay.
They get something in the mail that looks legitimate from a tax assessor's office, and they're like, "Hey, is this real?" I said, "Oh no, they just want $15 to file something that you can do for free." I love that. I can say, "All right, that's one extra contact right now."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, this class is really just honing in on doing these activities and pushing, practicing and getting this all together. So, before we wrap up and do a few of the before we go through and I have you guys practice a few different things and I ask you a few questions, I want to hear some of your experiences and concerns of what you might be wanting to do, so I can try and help you guys specifically in each of your businesses, since you guys are fortunate with a small class. So,
Well, I just, I want to be able to reach out to the people that I have in my Excel spreadsheet. And of course I ran off and I'm like, left my computer at home.
no, it's fine.
But
It's great
I
to
wanna
hear
be
that you
able
have,
to-
Excel
so I
spreadsheet.
I did that while I was at the beach this past week. So I've been putting everybody together and I realized, okay, one, I don't have all the information that I need.
Yes.
So I need to follow up with them.
And being okay with that. That's
Yeah.
always going to be a feeling, and you feel like you're going to be chasing down stuff. That's okay. That's the whole thing. You're going to be doing that a lot.
So my next thing was, and you kind of just touched on that, on asking them if you couldn't put them on this
Mhm.
before you just go sticking them on there and bombarding these people with, because I get so aggravated when I get a bunch of junk, like you said,
Mhm.
clogging up your email, and nobody asked me if they could put me on that, and I don't want to be on it, they'll try telling you, oh, it'll save you some money. No thanks, I want to pay full price. But just because I don't want their email.
Yeah. Right. Right.
But, I want that comfort of being able to ask them, hey, can I put you on this?
Mhm.
And no, I'm not going to spam your,
Mhm.
spam your email. And no, I'm not going to shove my picture down your throat every, that's just,
So
I don't mean to be blunt, but that's just how I like.
you want to have, yeah. So what I would suggest, use your Excel spreadsheet, group it into 10 or 15 of them at a time, and call each one of those people and say, hey, I'm in real estate now. Wanted to let you know, and I've got a really great marketing program that I will be sending you an email once a month, and I'll be calling you 2 to 3 times, maybe 4 times a year just to check in. My goal is to not try and sell you a house 4 times a year. I know you're only going to move every once in a while. I want to make sure I'm helping you save money, answer any questions about your current house, and that way when you have friends and family, you'll think of me so I can help you guys out because I really enjoyed working with you.
Okay.
So I would have that conversation with each one of those people before, and then you put a yes or no, or you have an unsubscribe thing, and you already pre-do that. Leave a voicemail and say, hey, I just wanted to let you know we plan on doing this. Let me know if you're not interested in it. That requires them to reach back out to you if they don't want to do that.
That's good.
So those are 2 ways to do that, and that way you can feel more confident if you feel like you're going to be spamming people.
Mm-hmm.
You're letting them know what to expect and why you're doing that,
Okay.
and letting them know that you're there to help them.
Because I know through like my Facebook page, I've even felt guilty, even through my company Facebook. But then I'm like, okay, well, you opted to follow my Facebook page. But, I've shared some of the, the tidbits and stuff on my Facebook page. And some people liked them. Some people, you don't know if they've seen it, if they liked it, or they're just like, oh my God, and she's driving me crazy with all this real estate stuff. And I try not to do it all the time, because I'm like, they're going to pop up in their news feed. I'm not going to do it every day.
Yeah. So it's a balance, and making sure that you're showing value and that you're doing different types of things.
Mm-hmm.
And there's whole classes on that, but my personal perspective is it's 80% unique, personalized, 20% business. You're wanting to make sure you're standing out. They can see all the ads and all the stuff that they want. But you also have to make sure that you're showcasing to people what you're doing. Let the clients feel special if you have listings and things like that. So
I've done that. And that was another thing that I was going to ask you. So, and I went ahead and opted to do it this time. This was the first time that I did this. Of course, it's just my second listing. But it's in a small town, and in Rogers. I'm not sure if you're familiar with where that
I
is.
live right down the road from there.
Okay.
she's in Holland.
So,
I'm between Holland and Rogers.
Where do you live?
Off of Iwas, off of 2268, headed out towards Rogers, going from Holland to Rogers.
You're like right my neighbor. I live
Really?
on 2268.
Really?
Yeah. So, do you know where Starfire Lane is? Have you seen the sign on the? It's 4 miles from 95.
Okay. Yeah, I passed by it.
Yeah, that's where I live. I live in that green 2-story house.
Oh. Well, I live. My road I think is 7 miles off of 95.
Okay.
Wow.
Dang, we're neighbors and we didn't even know it.
Yeah, that's
How
pretty
funny. But so my listing is actually on Nob Hill in Rogers, off of 36. So they called me last week, and they had seen it through because several people had shared it on Facebook, and they called me from the little community. They do the community newsletter. And so she was like, you can run your ad and it's like $65. And I was like, I'm on vacation. I'm good. I'll maybe think about it and get back to you next week when I get back from vacation. So she calls me back and she says, hey, if you really want to do this, the deadline's coming up and I can do it for $35. And I'm like, okay, do I just wait a little bit longer and tell her, oh, I think
like an hour before the deadline.
And so I did it, because I was thinking, okay, if I have the flyers printed up, that's going to cost me $20, so why not do 35? And yeah, so she put a couple other pictures, my business card, and then a little description about the property to run it in their
Mhm.
monthly newsletter for $35. So I was just gonna say, have you guys done stuff like that?
So
Or-
in smaller towns, yes, do that.
Okay.
Absolutely, because otherwise it's cost prohibitive to try and do something like that here locally. Take advantage of whatever you can at lower prices like that when it's on the outskirts of town.
I think it's great coming from the community too, because they're gonna look at that and be like,
well, and that's
what
what,
are they
she
saying,
said
not
too.
what are- yeah.
She didn't have an agent
mm-hmm.
to put in there.
Mm-hmm.
So she sent me like, you know, the actual flyer and
Yeah.
everything, because, you know, I was like, you know, so then I'm like, and go to paranoid mode. Is this really a scam? You know, is this real?
So you put her in your database right
Mhm.
now, and you follow up with her as a business opportunity
Yeah.
referral. So yeah, I'm glad that you brought that up, because that brings in a whole nother level for you guys to
Mhm.
work on, because it's not just necessarily meeting people.
Yeah.
Whatever businesses that you guys may have been a part of in the past, or you have family and friends that are a part of, you can leverage that and use them in order to try and help promote their business. And because if it's family or friends, you're probably already doing that anyway, and then have them help you as well. So
Mhm.
that's a great opportunity to be able to follow up with that. And so you put those businesses on a drip campaign just like this. You do the same thing. Just
Okay.
because it's a person, just because it's a business, there's still people that are running that business and that
Yeah.
are going to make those decisions. So that's
Cool.
really good. Yeah, really good opportunity to
Okay.
take advantage of.
All right.
I like that. I like that a lot.
Well, I was just like, okay, how does this really work? You know, what
Yeah.
do I do with that? You know, because that's my deal. I don't know what to do with it now. I'm like, okay, yeah, I did it. Okay, now what? So,
Brag about it to your clients.
Yeah. Well,
Make
they
sure
were
that-
like super excited because we were just like, really? And I was like, you know.
And if you keep that relationship,
And I
that's
asked for
something that you
permission.
can.
You know, I said this. I've been contacted. This is what, you know. Are you okay? Because it's going to be your house. And they were like, perfect.
Yeah.
You know, even though they had already signed and said it could, but still,
Mm-hmm.
I wanted
Absolutely.
to re-clarify.
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely. That's good.
perfect. Okay.
So, tell me a little bit about what you're thinking now about your database, 33 Touch, your activities. What do you have planned? Some of the things you've been doing.
Well, I would really like to start going to city council, or not city council, Chamber of Commerce,
Mm-hmm.
Georgetown and Gerald,
Mm-hmm.
and kind of getting to know the different business owners, because they have customers, they have clients.
Mm-hmm.
I know a few, we have a couple of friends that own moving companies, so as soon as my business cards come in,
That's
I'm
huge.
going to be going out and talking with them and giving them
Perfect.
my card, and so that
Is it by all of Texas by chance?
no.
Brett
Brett Buford, he used to be in Georgetown, now he's in Gerald, but we've known him since I was in high school. My husband used to work with him, and he's a really good friend of ours.
So you guys can come up with some co-branding opportunities with that. You can come up with deals and benefits for common clients for something like that. So
Okay.
that's a really, really good tool.
Okay.
Yeah,
do you
put those
notice-
people in your database first.
As far as going to chamber meetings, do I have to become a member of it before I can attend a meeting? Or
The chamber,
Mhm.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, but you can go to all the other like local development meetings and county meetings and things like that. Those would be good ones as well too. But it's worthwhile. I think there's a few agents in our office who are members. Don't let that deter you. It's about the relationships that you're going to form, and so and that's basically what this whole foundation we've been talking about is building the best relationships and how to keep up with them, because there's plenty of other agents that your friends and family are going to talk to randomly, just here and there, but it's the consistency of following up. So I think that's a really good way for you to do that.
Okay. And my insurance agent also mentioned to me that she does a networking group of
Mm-hmm.
just a few ladies. They get together for lunch or coffee once a
Mhm.
month. And
A business networking group.
Yeah, so I'm gonna get in on that. And
Absolutely. Realtors usually start those, so the fact that somebody reached out to you and there wasn't one already there is really unique.
Yeah.
And so that's a good strong group to be a part of. Yeah, it's usually like it's yeah.
Well,
that area.
actually, she's out of Round Rock because we
Oh,
just
wow.
switched my husband switched our insurance, our homeowner, or not our homeowners, our vehicle insurance, and to this Farm Bureau thing, and so she's got this networking.
No, that's really a strong benefit because you've got your hands in other little places that you've been, and you've got family and things like that. So, have either of you guys determined a group to put into your database of haven't mets, like of an area that you may want to quote unquote farm, whether it's geographic or groups of people?
No.
Have you thought about that yet?
Well, and I'm going to tell you why, and I mean, this may be something that you're even thinking about. Because of the area that we're in, it's rural, you know, and so a lot of it is land, you know, like the farm and ranch and stuff like that. Well, so I've been on the fence, like, well, I don't want to advertise my name on that because, one, I haven't, you know, I don't know how to do farm and ranch. I mean, I guess I could learn, but I don't know how. I mean, and I know that there's agents that we can refer to. So what do you do when you're on that fence looking over going, man, that'd be really sweet, but, you know, I feel like my hands are tied.
So, first of all, that's a great point. Just because you live in this area doesn't mean that that's where you need to, obviously you live there, you're going to want to work there. You can still find other areas, more residential areas, in order to focus your time and energy on.
Okay.
Now, with that being said, with anything farm and ranch related, if you guys need any help, don't hesitate to reach out to me. That is my specialty. I'm a member of KW Land. A lot of my business is involving land, so I'd be more than happy to help mentor you and guide you on those things. Okay. More importantly, I would recommend you guys find a neighborhood here in town, somewhere in town, a more highly densely populated little area for you to market and target. And there are different classes and different opportunities coming up. Even if you don't see them on the schedule, don't be afraid to reach out to me, and I can help teach you how to pinpoint a geographic farm and highlight that. Because a lot of what, I don't know if other people will have this experience, but when I started putting all of my information into the database, I had a lot of people I knew, but then they're talking about like this haven't met database. I'm like, I don't know who I don't know. So I had to find a neighborhood to start using and getting those details. And so for door knocking, for sending out digital information and things like that. And so you can use the tax records, and I can help you guys get that. But I highly encourage you guys to find a group of people that you are looking to meet on an individual basis so that you can grow your business as well, because we'll be able to get a lot of contact information for those guys, at least bulk by mail, and then you can also do door knocking and things like that, which is not going to be quite as feasible in Holland. So
Right.
So
Especially in 2268.
yeah, not going to be doing that. So we can find neighborhoods for you to do that.
Really get into the Gerald area. There's a lot of new subdivisions. So one thing that I'm trying to figure out kind of how to get in with those home builders, and because so many homes are being sold. There's new subdivisions going up. My husband works construction. He's always coming home and he's like,
you need to go and sit and meet with them and sit and be there and ask them what you can do for them.
Okay.
When they've got when they have a model home or a spec home, they're usually, people have to have days off, asking if you can help with those times, or if there's overflow, if there's multiple homes, if they're seeing a lot of activity, you can help sit in it and come up with a way where, you let them know your expectations, that you're not going to get every one of their buyers, and you're not expecting for them to hand over all the unrepresented buyers. Yet if you earn one while you're there, you get that. And ideally you'd be able to get the listings of people that if they already have somebody that's purchasing, you may not get the buy side, you can get the listing side. So sit down, meet with them, show up, be there in person.
The new build that I have is actually a D.R. Horton home, and so I took the client there because they wanted to go to it, and we went, and it's like the sweetest deal because they did everything.
Mhm.
I mean, like all the paperwork they did.
If you can get, if you can get in with the, like, it is a very, very smooth and very cushy because those bonuses you can keep, or depending on the buyer's situation, rebate back to them to get them a bigger house, and then you're a freaking hero.
Yeah. Well, and then they, so I was talking to them, and one of the things I was asking them is about open houses, and so they have like the place here. It was actually in Temple. They have a group of people that come in and hold those houses open and just sit in them, all the time. But when you said just now the listing side of it, how do you do that?
So that would be more of if they needed to sell their house in order to get into that.
Okay.
area.
Okay, gotcha. I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah, you
they're
can
not
get.
gonna let you put your sign in the yard.
No.
Of this new house. I was I want to claim this.
But they're gonna have people that need to sell their house in order to get into that, and you want to be able to jump in there.
Absolutely.
Because if they don't already have an agent bringing them in, and they need to sell their house, who are they gonna use?
Right. Exactly. Okay. But yeah, they were like, you can get on. They have their little calendar, and you can get on there and fill out when you can sit in the house and hold it open. So they were like, come on, they didn't.
Yeah.
Very opening. So that was kind of nice.
It's a good opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Good opportunity. So, okay, what other masterminding questions before I test you guys to make sure I know I sped through the material, but I think we got a lot of it. You guys are pretty aware of what's going on and what you need to do.
Well, I'm just kind of curious more on this farming.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to know how you do that.
Okay. Typically, it's going to be a multi-avenue method. And I'll talk with Kristen and let her know that we've got some agents that are interested, and we'll offer a mastermind on that. But typically what you're going to be doing is, the first step is to identify where you want to be.
Okay.
Make sure that there's a decent enough turnover, and make sure that there's not an agent that already has market share. Then you're going to want to get an idea of what the demographics are. Have the people live there? Are they original owners? Do the people move a lot? Is it a very high renter neighborhood? Is there a lot of young families? What are we expecting the turnover to be in the next couple of years? From that, you're going to then decide how you're going to go and target those people. So typically, the most cost-effective and low-cost method is going to be door knocking. And then you're going to be asking to get their information because you're not going to have their phone numbers or emails. So when you door knock, you want to get that information so you can start using other free methods to call or email. And then you can also do, once you start seeing a return, you can invest in doing monthly mailers. You do not do monthly mailers for a few months. You do them 6 to 9 months, or else you don't do them at all. There's no point in doing it. You're not going to get a return unless you do it for at least 6 to 9 months.
Okay.
So that's a cost. That's a financial investment that I'm very cheap compared to many agents. So I don't take that very lightly, and I don't suggest that for starting off agents unless you've got money and income coming in for you to do that. So,
so how do you do what do you do when you do your door knocking? Because that's another thing. If somebody just shows up at my door and asks me for my name and my email and all that kind of stuff, I'm gonna be like, no.
So I usually have some sort of purpose of why I'm going out there. The least value providing thing that I would do would be a neighborhood snapshot kind of what's happening in the neighborhood. Right now I'd probably use Kelly. Before I did a snapshot just of like the MLS without the sold data of just what was active and pending. And I would go to them and just have my script and talk to them and let them know what's going on in the neighborhood, and that I'm a local realtor and I just wanted to provide this information. If there's any information we could help with or questions, let us know. Other times I've provided little like pop-by goodies, whether it's a little pumpkin or it's like little peeps that are for the holidays. There's some little Halloween peeps a couple years ago that I got really, really cheap. And so I hit like 20 homes, and I think I got them for like 33 cents a piece or something. And so I dropped those off along with the neighborhood notes of what's happening. Right now we're doing a toy drive with one of our agents, and so we're letting prospective owner, or we're letting the property owners know about that, and letting them know they can drop off the items on their front porch, and we'll come pick them up at a certain day, or if they call or text us. So you gotta have something else.
Okay.
I'm not going to the door and asking if they want to sell their house and give me their phone number.
Okay.
You gotta have real conversations.
Because I know that they were saying like if you're doing an open house or something to go hit some of the houses that you're holding open.
So for that, yeah, you would just say, hey, just wanted to inform you. I'm sure you've seen the sign for sale. We wanted to have a private, personalized invitation to you as a neighbor for you to come by before or whenever you have during the open house.
So, and then with like your listings and stuff, you would just
Hey, just wanted to let you know about the new listing in the neighborhood. If you have any interest about it, I'd love to keep you up to date.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay, gotcha.
Make a joke if there's a ton of homes for sale. Like, say, I'm sure you've seen all the signs, but did you see mine? The best one? Like, just be real with them.
Okay.
Be real, be light.
So I see on the Facebook page a lot open house opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
So is that like a seller has a listing, they can't do the open house, and it's just an opportunity for you to get clients? Is that kind of why they put that out there? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so, jump in. I would ask an agent to shadow with you for the first time.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering too.
And then from there, just let the agents know, whoever you're hosting it for. The best protocol in doing that is to let them know, say, hi, hey, I've been licensed for this long. And because some of them might be top agents that aren't like paying a lot of attention, say, and just give them that credence, say, hey, I've been licensed this long, I'm going through Ignite, these are the things that I'm learning, I'm working to get buyer clients from this, I'll be putting out signs, I'll let you know when the open house is over and how many people came through. If you go about doing it that way, you're going to get yourself a lot more opportunities.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So making yourself available to do some of the things that other agents may not have time or availability to do, and being here in the office is going to get you really far.
Mm-hmm.
That's, it's definitely helped out a lot. So I encourage you guys to do that and become available and let them know what you're doing and what you're accomplishing, because we do have new faces in the office, and when we don't have these new agents having their own space in here, sometimes we don't get to see them as much. And for me, I've been in and out of the office, and so I don't even see who's actually here. So so those are some things. So making sure people are aware that you're out there. Keep posting on that page.
I've been here since July. You probably didn't know that.
I've seen your face around, definitely. So, but yeah, I was in July. That's when I had surgery, so I was out for a while. So, all right. So let's get into following up with the class today. I want to make sure I provided as much information and give you expectations about your database and what to expect. So, what are the benefits of a database?
All the information is there. Like,
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
easy way to contact people.
Mm-hmm. It's going to
Seeing it.
provide. What?
See, it's seeing it. It's all in one, like she said, it's all in one place. You're seeing it. You can make your notes. You know, okay, yeah, I followed up with them, and then, and being able to reference back.
And one of the really important things, if you've got a database that you're following up with and feeding it and making sure that it's being up to date, you're going to have a consistent and predictable flow of leads. And that's the biggest thing, because you can always do a roller coaster and have some deals and just focus on your deals and not work about trying to get more business. But once those are done, then what do?
Mm-hmm.
It takes you 30, 60, 90 days in order to get money in your pocket from your activities. So because of that, you have to make sure we're always moving forward. So you guys are both exactly right. A powerful database produces leads. A powerful database managed by a powerful schedule produces a predictable flow of leads. So only with a predictable flow of lead, you can have a predictable flow of business and a predictable cash flow. So it's very important to schedule all of these interactions, track all of these actions, so that you can determine how many in your database and what you're going to make your money from. You can have a very small, strong database and make a ton of money. Just because of the size of it, it means you have to make sure that you're taking care of it. If you're taking care of a small database, it can lead to a lot. If you're taking care of a big database, it can really, really lead you to a lot. But it can really be overwhelming if you're trying to take care of 1,000 people at the same personalized level as 100. So don't focus on if you've only got 50 or 100 or 200 people in your database. That's great. In this class, we need to get you to 200, and we've had the numbers prove 200 gets you started. So focus on pulling out and getting all of that data so that we can put it all together and create one place for it. And it's okay if you keep it in an Excel spreadsheet and it just stays there. That's not probably the highest, most effective use and not as purposeful. It's a lot better than not doing anything. So don't get beat down or worked up with any of the technology.
So is this Airtable that you were talking about?
Airtable.com.
Is that something, do you pay for that one or?
I'll show you what it looks like. Maybe.
That's so funny that you're right down the road from me.
Do you have it?
Do you have kids at school
I do have a son that's in middle school.
in Holland?
I'm gonna use the
Mine are
vendor
all,
one
well, I have one.
because that
she's grown.
groups it.
Okay.
She graduated from
Is that
Holland
the
now.
same way you group the letters?
My daughter, I take
Would
her
that
to
help
kids
them
at
in this
Cheryl.
class, or that's
I'll
later on in
mention
my
it.
show?
I'm gonna mention it in a minute.
It's 12.
Fun.
So this is what Airtable looks like. This is our vendor list. How do I make it bigger? I want full screen.
Am I on the green one?
Okay, there you go. I don't use Macs. So,
Oh, that's much nicer.
isn't that pretty looking?
Mhm.
And I mean, you can.
It's free too,
It's-
completely
That's
free.
what,
Up to a certain level, but like
Yeah.
we're still on the free, so
Wow.
you can do a lot with that.
Yeah,
okay. Sold.
Yeah.
Sold for free.
yeah. And you can. So, I would go very simple, but you can also group them of like if you have anybody that you're currently like actively working with versus just generic people that need to go in the database so it's right in front of you. If anything, I'm pretty sure this will make your time worth it today. You'll be very happy with this. This has been something that's definitely changed our world. We're not using it for our database because we already have our systems in place. We use it for a lot of different things. But I know with the user-friendly, it being so much prettier and it all being online, that it's definitely something that people really like. So, so we want to I also want to touch on the never-ending referrals that is going on Thursday mornings. What all do you guys know about never-ending referrals? Because it really, really ties
I
well
went
with
the
this.
one to the last Thursday
Okay.
before last. I missed last Thursday because
That's
I was
fine.
in Florida.
So you've had a
I'll be
taste
there
of it.
tomorrow. Yeah.
Have you had a taste of it yet?
No,
No.
I keep my daughter home Tuesdays and Thursdays.
It's
so.
completely fine. Ask and see if they're streaming it online or recording it so that you can take advantage of that while you're at home.
They weren't like I said, but Kristen was working on trying to get that set up.
Yeah.
Right, so
And
I
it's
think-
not, like I said, it's not anything that's going away. You're going to be able to jump into it. I just want to make sure you're aware of it. So, what I really love about never ending referrals, I talked about following up with your database. It's a lot of people to follow up with. So, how do you do it? Never ending referrals is giving you a way to chunk it down into bite sized pieces so that you can do it throughout the year. I said that I call my database like 4 times a year. Well, I said 4 times because it's broken down into 13 weeks of letters. It's 2 letters each week for all 26 letters of the alphabet, and it breaks it down based on averages on what people's names, first names or last names are balanced, and it's an interesting way that they were able to break it down so it's a little bit more averaged out each week, that you're kind of calling about the same amount of people. However you decide to, if you can do it with their first name or last name, choosing whichever letter, but it's really great. So you'll see A and W. So one week you'll call all people that start with the last name or first name that starts with A and the last name, first name that starts with W. And so what you're able to do in your campaigns is you're also are into your e-edge, you're also able to create groups so that you can put, whenever you're adding people into your database, you can say, okay, they're in the A and W group, so this week I'm scheduled to call these people, so I can schedule out and break it down each day how many people do I need to call. So I'm not looking at this big giant database of 300 people. You know, like, how am I? This is a little bit daunting to sit through and start calling them. So the Never Ending Referrals is a great program to help chunk it down. But I want you guys to focus on at least getting it inputted and getting it started first. Once you have it, then that's your next step is to go into that. So why is it important to put everybody in your database on a campaign?
That's what's not only you following up with your calls, but they're going in on the automated, getting the emails and getting everything of just reminding.
Staying top of mind, exactly. Biggest thing, we want to make sure that these people, when they see real estate, your name is the first thing that comes to mind. So they want to make sure they see you guys as a source of value with all of this. All right, what is an 8x8 campaign and when do you use it?
First.
Yes.
The initial.
Yes.
And it's 8 touches.
In 8 weeks. Yeah.
In 8 weeks. Got it.
Yes. So 8 touches, 8 weeks. First series of touches, the very first information that you guys are wanting to follow up with. And then a 33 touch.
Immediately
33.
Yeah. She's like, I knew that
I
one.
got that one.
The 33 touches in 1 year. So, and how many new contacts are going to be in your database by the end of Ignite? 200. All right. You guys wrote down 10. Your goal late, I know you came in a little bit late, as long as you write down 10 or get people into that spreadsheet, whether it's from your phone or that's your only homework, I want you to get used to pulling that out. Now, effectively and being more purposeful with your time, you're going to want to do bulk exports, but you got to get used to doing that, getting those people in each and every day. We've had a goal on our team that we've fallen off on doing is adding 2 people to our database each day. That's just 10 a week. We've had a good amount of leads that have come in, but I haven't been consistent about that, and I think that's something that I'm just now realizing for 2019 that's going to be a big thing that we need to do. So give yourself a goal of adding 1 person to your database every day. The odds of you finding business from that are very, very high. So friends, family, going out, asking them to introduce you to people, and just wearing your name tag when you're running errands and picking up the kids and things like that. All right.
I think the one thing that I've been telling my husband, I'm like, we don't go to like all these functions and stuff like that. It's just like, And I'm like, you know what? We really need to start going to those functions now because
you're gonna be a lot more social.
Yeah.
It sometimes one of the effects is that it gets your family out and about and not really hanging out at home, seeing what's going on, and you'll notice that you're learning about more things that are going on in the community that some of your friends and family don't know about. So,
where do we get name tags?
So you can. Where did we? Vista.
Ours is House of Magnets.
House of Magnets.
And
that's exactly who I use.
I think we got 3 of them for $10.
Yeah.
$15.
Oh, okay.
3 for third, but 10 each. Yeah.
Oh, 10 each, whatever. I don't know. She does
Around
math stuff. Okay, I need to get 2 ahas from each one of you of something that you learned today.
The farming.
8 by 8.
Yeah. The farming, the following up on the farming and how that works, and that Airtable is phenomenal.
Yeah, it is.
So thank you.
Yeah.
I'm like, that is much nicer than Excel.
And I hate saying this, but when you have something pretty and fun to use, sometimes you use it more. It's easier to get into the habit of doing it. I know I fall into that trap. So if I can give you guys some sort of little cheater way to at least get into action a little bit quicker, that's going to be really important.
And you can import your current Excel sheet into
it.
that, so you don't have to one by one.
So then, will it show me what I'm missing? Because that's where I am right now with the Excel. That's when I was last week. I was like, oh my god, I'm missing all this information.
Yeah.
So I was like, I have to get all this in. So if I get it, then I can just.
You can sort it probably.
It probably
in a
would
way.
almost be easier just to enter it new versus
True. Yeah.
going back in, or I can see which ones I have to touch. You know.
Maybe each time you call that person,
Mm-hmm.
then drag them to Airtable.
Mhm.
Yeah, that would work.
And I have my bio here just so you guys know a little bit about me and what I can help with in my experience with the Keller Williams office. So don't hesitate to reach out and email me. And Liz and I will be able to help with any questions that you may have. I'm on the ALC, so let me know if I can help with that. As I mentioned, I specialize in land. I'm getting back into door knocking again now that I can walk. So I'm doing
That's what's different about you.
Yeah.
Okay.
She doesn't have
You
an
only
apparatus.
saw me
Okay.
when I was bionic and I had the scooter or
with
the
your
crutch.
scooter, and it was throwing me off, and I'm
Yeah.
like, what? Wait a minute. Okay,
Yeah, I got 2 feet now. It's a good thing.
that's it. That's a good thing. Okay.
5 months. Golly.
I was trying to say when I first came in and like introduced myself, I think you were on it, and you're on it again.
Mm-hmm. I was on it forever.
Mm-hmm.
How funny.
Yeah. So, thank you guys so much for your time. It was really, really good. I'm glad that you're investing your time into making sure that you are growing your business and you know exactly what you need to do. Make sure to use these materials. Don't be afraid to Google and look up YouTube videos about 33 Touch and 8x8 and see what other agents are doing. That's always a really fun thing to be able to do. And we're just going to have more and more automated opportunities for you coming in the new year with Command and all of that. So
Yeah.
be on alert and yeah. So thank you guys so much.
And KW Connect has a lot of training
Oh yeah.
videos.
Oh my gosh. More than you could need. And that's where we found the we watched a quick little video that showed the benefits of being organized, and she was just all chaotic because she wasn't writing her notes down. And it was funny that you had said, I feel like you had pinpointed that exact feeling earlier with one of your comments. So that's all.
I'm just like, it's crazy, you know. And that, I don't know. That's what makes me nervous about it. And
If you guys are organizing it now and actually putting in the information now, then you're good. And it's all just doing little bits at a time. Even if you do 1 or 2 things each day, as long as you're consistently doing it, you're making a big impact and you're going to be successful with it.
Cool.
So.
Let me give you one of my business cards, and I have I'm in that growing your referral class.